Today started off like any other workday. I got up, got ready for the day, and spoke to my father. And, my father is how I get most of my news. I don't really scroll through social media anymore. I call it doom scrolling. But that's how he gets his news. And I suppose it makes sense. That's how most people get their local news. So he keeps me in the loop. And especially in later times, I'm so caught up with work, it seems, that I am always the last to hear about something. Well, this morning, he reached out to me first with some news that really changed my entire day and put a dark cloud over my whole week. It's changed a lot. He let me know that a dear friend of mine, a friend of over 20 years, had passed away. And it really hit me like a ton of bricks. This person had been battling illness for quite a while, but it still was unexpected. And, in later years, as I got kind of wrapped up in my own life and work and stuff, I didn't talk to them as much as I'd like to, but we made it a tradition of, beyond seeing each other a few times through the year, of getting together every Christmas and sharing stories and stuff, usually on Christmas Eve. So with that said, I knew I wanted to take a video. I wasn't sure what I'd make this video about, but I thought I'd let it happen organically. So Steve, this one goes out to you. And I want to tell you a little bit about him first. When I say I've been friends with him for over 20 years, I've known him for much longer. He actually worked with my father at a Chrysler dealership when I was a kid. Now, years later, when I got my first car, he was the fellow that helped me source parts and keep that car going down the road. And as time went on and I started wrenching on car, I became very familiar with both that dealership and even better acquainted with him. So he, very immediately became a good friend of mine. And although he's much older than me, I had hoped that he would have more time. My wish is that everyone got at least 100 years or so on this earth, but I guess sometimes it doesn't go that way. But this guy was, in his personal life, a mentor. He loved mentoring people and passing along wisdom. He was a Boy Scout leader. He worked with youth and really believed in giving boys the tools to become young men. And with me, we used to kind of refer to him as like the neighborhood father, because he'd not only show you how to do something, but he'd often send you home with the tool to do it. And it reminds me of something I've spoke about in previous videos, and I just believe in general that tools and projects bring family and loved ones together. And when you share in something bigger, the memories last a lifetime, much longer than the projects that you're working on. Now, with Steve, as Steve retired, he retired early due to health reasons, and he stopped tinkering as much in his garage, in his workshop. He switched and started passing along tools. It seemed important to him, almost like he needed to really give these tools a new life. And I recall the last time we got together, anytime I saw him, he always had something for me. It started off, he'd say, "I bet you never saw one of these," and he'd pull out some interesting tool that I had never heard of, and he'd let me go home with it. And you know what? As I look through my toolbox here, this is the toolbox I use every day, I see tools, a lot of tools I bought new, most of them, but I see tools that I've carried around for many, many years. And although I might not use them all the time, they carry with them a lot of memories. Right up top here, this is a 1/4-inch Snap-on that was my grandfather's. I put a rebuild kit in this years ago, and I use it occasionally, but for the most part, it just lives up here. It's just a memory. When I look at that, it brings me back. Reminds me of all kinds of things. And Steve, thinking of you. If I go a few drawers down, I still got that brake line bender that I got from you quite some time ago. And again, even though some of these tools I might not use much or even at all, I hold on to them and I cherish those memories. And it reminds me how important those memories are. Sharing wisdom and working on something bigger. Some of these tools don't carry a lot of value, and if you have a large tool collection, or you're retired and you're thinning out your tool collection, consider handing some of those over to people you're close with and who you love, because well beyond the tool's value, they'll carry those memories for a lifetime. Now, Steve, it's really hard losing you, because we had a lot of great memories. This guy told some great stories. He was a car guy, especially in his younger years. Stories of his Challengers and all the different cars he had. But I think that the wisdom he passed, which I will in turn pass along, and the tools he handed down both to myself and to others, those memories will last much longer, well beyond all our lifetimes. And that's my hope anyway. As always, I appreciate you watching my videos. Feel free to leave a comment below. Talk about how you have a tool or a story that was passed down to you that you still hold on and cherish. Thanks for watching, guys.